Okay, welcome everyone. As we learn this special segment called For the Shabbos Table, and it is sponsored by the Rubin family with a tefillah to Hashem that they should be zeicher to a healthy ben zachar, and hatzlach and ruchnius and gashmius, also by a wonderful woman who's sponsoring it anonymously that her two daughters should find their zivig hagun quickly and easily. I want to share with you we know that as we get closer and closer to Tisha B'Av, our feeling of mourning is intensified, and we come now to a time of the year where it's a sad Shabbos. Of course, Shabbos itself is happy, but it's known as Shabbos Chazon because of the Haftarah of Chazon Yeshaya, the vision of Yeshaya, and we try to at this time of the year see what we could improve in the area of our mourning for the temple and hoping for Mashiach. So there is a Gemara, and I recommend you to look it up. It's a wonderful thing to talk about with your family. This Gemara is on Daf Lamed Aleph Amud Aleph in Masechta Shabbos. And I'm going to learn the Gemara with you because it's a very, very important Gemara. I always, when I talk about this Gemara, I preface it with an incident that happened to me well over a quarter of a century ago. I remember that I was sitting in my bungalow. At that time, it was Dishner's bungalow colony, which is now Scullia on Route 42. This was before I even went. I was 20 years in Sun Circle, and then a year in Village Green, then 20 years in Sun Circle, and now I'm already 6 years in Elm Shade Estates. But before that, I was 17 years in Dishner's bungalow colony. Very happy years, raised my children there. And I was sitting in my bungalow, and I get a call from California. There was a woman who was in her third trimester, and she was having a lot of pain. So I told her I happened to have a sefer with tefillos for the third trimester. I'm going to run over to the post office and deliver it to her. I had a very good relationship with the post office in those days. I was mailing hundreds of tapes every day. I was very familiar with the post office, so I went on that trip that I did hundreds of times, got in the car. I remember it was 5 minutes to 5. The post office closes in 5 minutes. And as I'm turning the left turn into the post office, there was a policeman on the side, and he put on his siren, pulled me over, and I was in a rush to get this. I said, "Excuse me, sir, could I go? I want to get this over to the..." I didn't think I did anything wrong. It was a green light. He said, "Get out of the car." I get out of the car. He handcuffs me. I said, what did I do? "You made too short of a turn." He brought me, he arrested me. He took me to the station, and he made me post bail. I remember bail was $50. I only had 3 20s. Good thing I had it. Otherwise, he might have thrown me into jail. And he said, "We don't give change." And I had to appear in court that Monday. And I remember how nervous I was, thinking, what are they going to ask me? What's going to happen? Anyway, I get there on Monday, and I was very upset the way I was treated. So the judge was actually an Alta Yid, a non-religious Yid. He says, by way of, form, would you like to have a court-ordered attorney? So I said yes. And that he wasn't expecting that. So he calls me to the bench. And he says to me, look, I know what's going on over here. But if you start up with them, they're going to make your life miserable. Just leave it up to me. Okay? Anyway, he waived all the charges. He purged it from the record. And I got a check for $60 for the bail. But I still remember to this day how over Shabbos I was thinking, what are they going to ask me? What am I going to say if they ask me this? What am I going to say? And I said to myself, we're all going to go to a din v'cheshbon, right? It says that one of the three things a person should think is ulefnei mi'ata osed litein din v'cheshbon. Wouldn't we want to know what they're going to ask of us, so we could prepare? So that's actually this Gemara in Masechta Shabbos. The Gemara in Masechta Shabbos tells us the questions that they're going to ask each person la'asid lavai. The great Gadol Adar, Rava, is the one that reveals this. Now, probably Rava knew this mikabbalah. Although he doesn't quote anybody, but he probably got it from his Rebbeim, because it's probably Messiah Messinai. So Amar Rava, b'shah shemachnisin adam ledin, when they bring a person to judgment, Oimrim lai, the heavenly tribunal will say to him, that's when it says Oimrim, it means the Pamal Yishalmal. Oimrim lai, Nosasa v'nosata be'emuna. Did you do business faithfully? That's the first question will be asked. Now, Taisus asks, but the Gemara in Sanhedrin says, Tchilas dinai shel adam ein ela b'divrei Torah, that a person is judged first about Torah. So Taisus answered, a Talmid Chacham will first be judged about Torah. A Balabayas, who spends the majority of his day working, he'll first be asked about the integrity of business. And a person will be asked, Nosasa v'nosata be'emuna. Did you do your business faithfully? Rapam, I heard this from Rapam myself. Rapam once asked, shouldn't it have said Nosata v'nosata be'emes? Did you do your business with truth? Were you ehrlich? Rapam said that the reason why it says Nosasa v'nosata be'emuna is because Hashem is gonna, the heavenly tribunal wanted to know, when you did business, did you feel Hashem looking over your shoulder? That's the way Rapam answered. It could be also another pshat. And Nosata v'nosata be'emuna means, did you do the correct amount of ishtadlus? Not too much. Did you have emunah? Did you know that panas is from God? And therefore you did what you were supposed to, but you didn't neglect your family, you didn't neglect learning, you didn't neglect tefillah b'minyan. That's the first question. The next question is a biggie. Kavata itim l'Torah. Did you make fixed times for Torah? Now it says itim in the plural, because you have to make a fixed time for the day and for the night, because it says v'gisa ba yoimam v'loyla. So if a person, let's say, has a daf yomi in the night, that's not enough. He has to have a fixed time during the day. Happens to be that's why they employ the strategy of learning between Mincha and Mariv. So that time between Mincha and Mariv usually straddles day and night, so that a person could b'diavad fulfill both. But a person has to have, and we're going to be asked about this, did you make sure to have a fixed time, day and night? That's why some people, they either learn in the morning before davening or after davening. They connect it to davening. They know they daven, and they want to make sure that they do learning in the day, so they learn either a little bit before davening or a little bit after davening. And it should be kavata, means it should be fixed. It shouldn't be some people, when I get time I learn. No, it's not when I get time I learn. A person has to we're going to be asked, did you make sure every day, Erev Shabbos, Sunday, every day, you have a fixed time in the day and the night? We're all going to be asked about this. It's a very big thing. We don't want to fail. The third question is Asakta b'pirya v'rivya. Did you try to have a Jewish family? It doesn't say kiyamta pirya v'rivya, because it's not up to us. It's not up to us, but we have to try. So the question is Asakta b'pirya v'rivya. Now recently, a lot of the Mefarshim say that Asakta b'pirya v'rivya also means, did we try to help people with shidduchim? Asakta b'pirya v'rivya, did you occupy yourself with other people's pirya v'rivya? They can't have children if they're not married. So asakta b'pirya v'rivya, did you try to think, I know this person, who do I know for this person? Who could I hook up with this person? Or at least help them get a shotgun? But were you involved in pirya v'rivya? Okay, so those are the first three questions that we're all going to be asked, La'aseh Lavai. And for many of us, we'll say, I'm doing pretty good. I have a very nice family. I make sure to learn in the day and the night. I'm erlich in my business. So now comes the fourth question. Now, if you were a guessing man, what do you think that the fourth question would be? So if I didn't know this Gemara, I would have very easily thought that the fourth question should be Hispalalta b'minyan. Did you daven with a minyan? Hispalalta b'kavana. Did you daven with concentration? Or what's keneged kol haTorah kula? Shamarta Shabbos? Did you keep Shabbos? Or says it would have been worthy for us to be brought out of Mitzrayim just for kashrus. Achalta kosher? Or there's a berhetiv that brings down that the most choshev of mitzvah saseh in the Torah is tefillin. So if the fourth question would be hanachta tefillin beguf naki, I could hear that too. But none of these questions are the fourth question. The fourth question will, if you're not prepared, if you didn't learn this Gemara, the fourth question will leave people speechless. The fourth question is, tzipisa liyeshua? Did you hope for the Mashiach? Now, I want to assure you that this is not a Lubavitcher question. This is a Gemara Masechta Shabbos. That's where the Lubavitchers got it from. But the fourth question is going to be Tzipisa liyeshua, and people are going to be standing there with their mouths open. The truth of the matter is that the person, he was Mekayim tzipisa for a promotion, tzipisa for a house in Florida, tzipisa for a vacation, for Pesach in a hotel, maybe even for an apartment in Eretz Yisrael. But tzipisa Yeshua? We have to know, when we learn this Gemara, I'm giving you a gift, Rabbi say. We come to the 9 days, Shabbos Chazon, Tisha B'Av. It's an injection for the whole year. That we're supposed to learn that we have to hope for the Mashiach. You know, there are American dreams, but there's Jewish dreams. Just like there's the Jewish dream that a woman prays by the candles, that she should have children, Talmidei Chachamim. That's a Jewish dream. The Jewish dream is that Hashem should rebuild the Beis Hamikdash, that the Mashiach should come, the Sanhedrin should be reconvened, we should be able to do the Avodah in the Beis Hamikdash, the Shekhinah should once again reside in Yerushalayim HaKodesh. Now, the Anshe Knesset Zagdayla, when they made tefillah, they gave us ample place to pray for this. We just have to train ourselves to use it. So, for example, we say in Et Tzemach, Ki liyeshuaska kivinu kalayim. For your salvation, we hope every day. We just have to learn to mean that. Svardim Adam mitzapim liyeshua. We look forward to your Yeshua. We know we're going to be asked about this. O mitzapim liyeshua. In Aleinu, the second part of Aleinu, whose author was a very interesting person. The author of the second part of Aleinu is not your usual author. The author of the second part of Aleinu was written by a man on death row, by a man who would be executed by Klal Yisrael. It was written by Achan. Achan is the one that illegally took from the band Yerichai. And it resulted in a calamity for Klal Yisrael, and he was executed. Before he was executed, he wrote Al Kain Nekava. And you could sure understand that he really meant that I'm hoping, because he was about to be executed. So he was hoping for the Yeshua, for the Tchias HaMesim. That's why Al Kain Nekava is Rosh Tevis Achan. Al Ayin Kain Chav Nekava Nun. But over there we say Al Kain Nekava L'cha Hashem Elokeinu Liros Meheira B'Seferes Uzecha. To see speedily in your splendorous might. Lahavir Gilulim in Aretz. We're learning Avodah Zarah in Daf Yomi. Lahavir Gilulim in Aretz. That finally all the idols should be removed from the land. Another place where we have to train ourselves. We want to be able to answer in the affirmative that yes, I hoped for the Mashiach. I was from the believers. Another place is every time we break bread. Every time we break bread, we say in the third bracha of benching, which was made by David and Shlomo, Rachem na Hashem Elokeinu al Yisrael amecha v'al Yerushalayim irecha v'al Tzion mishkan kvodecha. Val Yerushalayim irkachecha. Show mercy. At the end of our Shemoneh Esrei, we say the 4 requests, which it says in Beferish in Shulchan Aruch, Kol ha'omer daled dvarim ha'alalu zeicha u'mekabel pnei shchina. The 4 requests are Aseh leman shemecha, Aseh leman yiminecha, Aseh leman kedushasecha, Aseh leman terasecha. That's talking about rebuild the temple for the sake of your name, for the sake of your might. People shouldn't say you're weak. You have a golden mask on where your house is supposed to be. Of course, at least 10 times a day, we hear Kaddish. Kaddish is an expression of our hope for Mashiach. In Kaddish we say, Yisgadal v'yiskadash shmei Rabbah. May your great name be great and holy. Now that's a complicated thing. What do you mean Hashem's name should be great and holy? Hashem is already the greatest and the holiest. What it means is that there should come the war of Gog and Magog. Gog and Magog is B'gematria 70, where all 70 nations will come against us, and we will win. And it says that at that time, Hiskadilti v'Hiskadishti v'Nayadati ben Amim. In Yechezkel it says, you will be great and holy and known by more people. That's how Hashem becomes greater and holier, because more people recognize Him. So every time we answer Amen to Yiskadal v'Yiskada Shmei Rabbah, Amen means we believe it, and like the Olas Tamid adds Ulavai, it should happen soon, or Kein Hiratzain, we are fulfilling Tzipis of the Yeshua. Now, if you want extra credit, there's extra credit is, as Reb Miller said one time, when you buy a chasana and there's a mitzvah tanz, and you come home after chatzais, before you go to sleep, sit down on the floor and say a few pieces of tikkun chatzais and mourn for the Beis HaMikdash. And that's a fulfillment of tzipis of the Yeshua, even if a person does it once a year. But do something to mourn for the Beis HaMikdash. Now, I just want to finish this Gemara because it's a marvelous Gemara. The 5th question is, Pilpalta b'chachma? Did you wrestle with wisdom? Hevanta davar mitoich davar? Did you draw applications to other things from your learning? And then the Gemara says a stunner. Hashem said, even if you answered all 6 of these questions with a yes, you're not out of the woods. If your essence is fear of Hashem, good. If not, it's no good. The number one thing that a person has to develop is a sense of, I want to do what Hashem wants from me. The Ramban says anytime you do something or you withhold from doing something because of Hashem, you fulfill the mitzvah saseh of Es Hashem Alikecha Tira. And the pivotal question of a successful life is if Yiras Hashem hi oitzaroi. That's the pasuk says. Moshe Rabbeinu said, "Ma Hashem alikecha shoyo me'ima kiyem liyira." What does Hashem ask? But that you should fear Him. You should say, I'm inhibited from doing this because Hashem doesn't allow it. So before saying something, you have to ask, will Hashem want me to say this or not? Or is it Lashon Hara? Or is it talking in shul? Does Hashem want me to look at this? That's Reishis Chochma Yiras Hashem. Hein Yiras Hashem hi Chochma. May we take the opportunity of these days, not eating meat, not drinking wine, not listening to music, not taking haircuts, not having celebrations, not bathing, not swimming. May we take it as a springboard to get used to the fact that we're missing something. We're missing the kachim of meat, the nesachim of wine. We're missing the presence of the Shekhinah, the blessings of the peacemaker of the Mizbeach, the blessings of the Parnas of the Shulchan, the Yiras Hashem that's developed from being in the Beis HaMikdash and seeing its miracles. May we work on being a Yorei Shemayim. In that merit, we should be zeichet to the Bias Mashiach Tzidkenu b'mher v'yameinu.